Hi, and welcome to Pet Pals. Every week we take a look at animals that are needing homes from the Frederick County Division of Animal Control and Pet Adoption Center. I'm Linda Shea. With me is Randy Cooper. And today we've got a little different show. We only have 2 dogs in the shelter without adoption applications, so we're going to revisit them. And then we've got the balance, which is 8 cats and 1 special needs cat. So first up is Tango. You've seen Tango before if you've watched Pet Pals before. Tango was adopted from our shelter and then returned. Part of our adoption contract states that if you adopt from our shelter, if for some reason the animal doesn't work out or you can't keep the animal, you must return it here so we can attempt to rehome it. Tango's about 3 years old. He is a very compact 74 pounds, and as with all animals adopted from us, he is already neutered, microchipped, current on vaccines, deworming, and preventatives. And the people that adopted him had him for, I think, about 6 months. And the reason they brought him back, they said that they just didn't have enough room. And as you can tell, Tango really is not, you know, he is a large dog. He's 74 pounds and could do with exercise and maybe a fenced yard, but that's not mandatory. He's very social, very acclimated to people, has good manners and very affectionate. So as you can see, he's perfectly happy just hanging out with us and just being pet and paid attention to. He's got really good manners. He knows how to sit, responds to treats, and at only 3 years old, he's just an overall good dog. And I know a lot of times folks come in and there's a lot of competition. We've got cute puppies, we've got smaller exotic breeds, so a dog that looks like Tango is not necessarily as exotic. But when you're looking for a companion animal, you really want to look for their temperament, for their personality, and Tango certainly shines in that aspect. So again, this is Tango looking for a forever home. Jesse has also been on Pet Pals before. He is a Lab German Shepherd mix. He's about a year old. His birth date was just December 30th. And he came to us previously owned. And the reason that the folks wrote down why he was turned into the shelter is that he got too big for them. So just has gotten too large. So again, when you're thinking about introducing a pet into your family, there's lots of things to consider, and one thing is size. If you live in a smaller apartment or if you have lots of exotic trinkets around, you may not want an active breed. You may not want a dog with a tail that works steadily. So that's why Jesse's here. The family that had him acquired him as a puppy, so they had a whole entire year to instill some manners, to work with him. And that's the other part of adopting a pet or introducing a pet into your home, especially dogs. You need to be willing to commit to them for their whole entire life, but especially when they're puppies, there's a window of opportunity that you have to train them, to teach them manners. People get so frustrated with puppies that just don't behave, not realizing that it's not the puppy's fault. They don't come with instilled manners necessarily. It's all up to the family as to what they want the dog to turn into and what manners what behavior they will be tolerant of. So this is Jesse. He is 63 pounds, so he is definitely a large dog. He's already neutered at about a year old. He's probably not going to get too much bigger, but he will need continual training. He is responsive to people. He's food motivated, so there's a lot of things in his favor, but he is still here at the shelter and still looking for a forever home. For anybody out there who watches the TV show Bones, this kitten is named after one of the characters. This is Tempe. Tempe is about 5-6 months old now. She was in foster care for a while. She came into the shelter back in September when she was only about 2 weeks old. So we have seen her grow up here. She, however, has been in a foster home, so she's actually just returning to the shelter now. Tempe is already spayed. She's current on vaccines. We've done the preventatives, tested her for leukemia and FIV, which are both negative. And we're showcasing her today. She has a little bit of a minor medical indication. She's got sort of a weepy right eye, and we have treated that. We have, offered different medications and just monitor that. So it does not slow her down at all. At first, she was a little bit shy with being handled or restrained, but from what I understand, she's certainly come a long way from the time when she was just a wee little kitten and has done much better. So now she's on our adoption floor looking for a home. We're looking for someone, preferably with cat experience, someone who will understand that that weepy right eye is not it's not necessarily a reason to not adopt her. Certainly we provide all the information that we have on any animal. We disclose everything we know about their medical condition, their behavior, any temperament issues. So what I would recommend if you were going to adopt Tempe is that you take a good look at her medical information. If you have a family vet, you want to make sure that you kind of run that by them first, just so you realize that, the runny right eye, sometimes there's just nothing that can be done. It's just how she is. But she's a wonderful little kitten, and yes, she's a kitten. We still have kittens at the shelter even though there's snow on the ground, but Tempe is certainly deserving of a forever home. This is Fiona. She's sort of a longer, older version of Tempe. Fiona came to us as a stray from Primus Court in Frederick. She came to us just about a week and a half ago, and Fiona's about 8 to 9 months old and coming to us as a stray. And you've heard me say this before, we don't have any background information when these animals arrive, so we look at their teeth, we look at their body condition, we look at their eyes, we look at their overall health to try to determine what age they are. So we've got her down at about 8 to 9 months old, so she's just beyond the real kitten stage and turning into what we would call a juvenile. She's about 6 pounds. We've brought her up to speed on SNAP testing, the preventatives that she needs, and we do color code all of our animals here, our dogs, our cats, our bunnies, and Fiona is color coded orange. And if you're not familiar with our color codes, blue cards are the ones, animals that are very gentle, easygoing, very social. Green are typically kittens or puppies that simply don't have the experience in life to have manners or many skills behind them. And then orange is somewhere middle of the road, so it's certainly appropriate that Fiona is about 8 to 9 months old, color-coded orange. She's certainly easy to handle, very social, has acclimated well on our adoption floor. And if you've never been to our shelter, I encourage you to come visit. And I know some folks find that somewhat heartbreaking, but I think if you come and actually see for yourself how the animals are housed, we offer them enrichment, they're kept in clean environments, and most of them actually do acclimate really well. We have volunteers that come in on a regular basis to help socialize, to brush, to assist us with trimming nails and things like that. So Fiona is a stray. If you have lost a pet, you certainly want to check here. But Fiona right now is available for adoption. Buttercup arrived just about a week ago also from Union Bridge, came to us as a stray. So again, we don't have much information on her. She's about 1 to 2 years old. She's about 9 pounds. Done all the preventatives, the vaccines, flea prevention. We SNAP tested her negative for leukemia and FIV. And she's a gorgeous, just a classic domestic short hair, black and white coat, and very agreeable to being handled. She's very affectionate, very sweet natured. If you pass by her housing unit on the adoption floor, she often needs, and just, a sign that she's very, very comfortable. So again, just a reminder, if you are missing a pet, Frederick County Division of Animal Control and Pet Adoption Center is the only animal shelter in Frederick County. We're on Rosemont Avenue in Frederick City, and what folks don't realize, we are the one shelter for the whole entire county. So even though Buttercup came from Union Bridge, Fiona came from Primus Court, regardless of where you live in the county, as the only shelter, citizens from the whole entire county bring us stray animals here. We also have our animal control officers that respond to calls about stray pets, animals running at large, all the way from Emmitsburg to Mount Airy to Adamstown. So you want to make sure that if you're missing a pet, you not only call us, but you actually come into the shelter, visit and walk through, because as we've said many times, your description of your cat may be very different than what we consider as far as breed, as far as color. So very important. And certainly if you have pets in your possession at home, you want to consider getting them identification at some point, either in the form of a collar, tags, or even a microchip, which is lifelong ID. But in the meantime, we have Buttercup here from the Union Bridge area, very sweet and looking for a home. So that is it for this segment of Pet Pals. We're going to take a short break. Stay tuned and we'll be right back with more animals from our shelter.
Looking to get fit this winter? Sign up for some of our fitness classes that will fit you best. Our classes range from Adult Active Yoga, Mighty Fit Yoga, Cardio Sculpting Party, Power Yoga, Mighty Fit Pilates, Charqui and Total Body Fit, Yoga Mind, Body and Spirit, Sula's Hoop Body Sculpt Class, or Walking Fitness Club. For more information, go to recreator.com.
Transit services of Frederick County. With rising gas prices, transit is a less expensive way to work or school. Most commuter bus routes run every 30 minutes during weekday morning and afternoon rush hours. Bus stops are within a quarter mile of most businesses in downtown Frederick. Transit offers shuttles to Thurmont, Emmitsburg, Brunswick, Jefferson, Spring Ridge, and Route 85, or take a shuttle to the MARC train for an easy commute. Find out what nearly 1 million passengers already know. Transit connects people and places.
Hello, this is Jack Markey with Frederick County, Maryland Division of Emergency Management. On behalf of the Board of County Commissioners and our public safety agencies in Frederick County, I'd like to encourage all citizens to take the time and sign up with Alert Frederick County. With our increasingly mobile and connected society, the traditional methods of using reverse 911 type tools to reach out to fixed phones during life-threatening emergencies have struggled to keep up with the smartphone revolution. Alert Frederick County can support communications to both fixed and mobile communication technologies based on what technology you use. You can register with Alert Frederick County by going to the main county website and selecting Emergency Alerts on the left-hand menu, or by going to frederickcountymd.gov/alert. Thank you for your attention and assistance in helping to safeguard your family, loved ones, and businesses. Make a plan, stay informed, and be ready to act.
Welcome back to Pet Pals. We're going to take a look at 5 of our cats that are looking for homes from our shelter. First little kitty, well, not quite a little kitty, big kitty is Walter. Walter is about 12.5 pounds, so he is on the larger side of cat weights. He's a brown tabby with white, and for those of you that watch Pet Pals on a regular basis, tabby is not a color, tabby is a pattern, so the stripes are indicative of the tabby pattern, and then certainly the color is brown with that white on his chest. Walter came to us previously owned. He's about 7 to 8 years old. He's already neutered, already microchipped, and he is one of the cats on our adoption floor that's color-coded blue. So when we say blue cats, what we mean is that he's very gentle, very passive, very affectionate, easy to handle. If you've never had a cat before, he might be a good choice if you're interested in an adult. Also, if you have other cats at home, he might be a good cat to introduce if you've never introduced cats prior. And certainly if you have other cats at home, we have an adoption interview process, which is your opportunity to ask us questions about the animal that you're going to adopt, and then our opportunity to disclose to you anything that we know about the animal firsthand. Walter is blind in his left eye, and we're not sure what that's from, possibly old trauma, But one thing that our shelter does is when animals come in, we do examine them. We provide any vaccines. If we don't have a vaccine history, we get weights on them so we can tell if they're eating here, if they're losing weight. But the left eye blindness does not preclude him in any way from being adoptable, and certainly it doesn't change his disposition or personality. So Walter is a great cat. He's very handsome, he's very easy to handle, so if you're looking for a cat with a great disposition, he would be a great choice. So just like earlier in the segment, we had Fiona, a large version of Tempe. We now have Tater, who is a small version of Walter. Tater came to us as a stray from New Haven Court in Frederick. We have him down as about 3.5 months old, came to us about a week ago. He's about 4 pounds, so he's a little guy. He's a kitten, and he is absolutely beautiful. He's got almost exotic markings. He's got the stripes with some spots. He's got little miniature tufts on his ears, giving him sort of that bobtail look. And cats are, I mean, of course, I believe they're all beautiful in their own unique way, but when you actually look and investigate some of their coat colors and patterns, he is gorgeous. He really is. We have him color-coded as orange. He is content and he is purring in Randy's lap. So if you have, if you've never had a kitten before, this might be a good choice. He's not a wee little kitten at 4 pounds, but he certainly is compact and sturdy and can hold his own. Again, we encourage you, if you're going to adopt an animal, you want to make sure that you come in and visit with that animal. You also want to make sure all the members of your family do as well. Two of the main reasons that animals are returned to our shelter is that people move without planning ahead, without committing to their pet, so they end up having to relinquish during a move. And then the second most common reason is allergies that develop. So that's one of the main reasons. If you have young children, other family members in your family, you want to make sure that everybody comes in just to interact, to make sure that there are no possible allergies, and also just to gain a sense of the animal you're adopting and if it's going to fit in with your lifestyle. And looking at Tater and how content he is, I would say that Tater would fit in pretty much in any situation. He is small, so the only one consideration, if you have dogs in your family that are predatory, you probably want to steer clear of a cat like this because he is so docile. But other than that, Tater would make a great pet. Clarence came to us early in the month, and he is what we consider sort of a loosely owned cat. He was born on the person's property, so at this point he's about 4 to 5 months old, and the property owner no longer wanted cats there, so brought them to us. So Clarence is available for adoption, and a lot of times, even though cats may be outdoors, that doesn't constitute them being feral. You can take a look at Clarence and see that he's very social. He is color-coded green, so he's a little bit shy. He's never really been an indoor cat, but he is certainly acclimated wonderfully to the shelter. If you walk by our adoption floor, he's very animated, he's very vocal, he can hold up his end of the conversation. So if that's the kind of personality you're looking for, you know, Clarence would certainly be a good choice. He's about 5.5 pounds, and again, about 5 months old. Prior to leaving here, he'll be neutered. We've already tested him for leukemia and FIV, which are both negative. And again, there's a unique joy to cats that are this age. They're not the obnoxious wee little kittens, but they have not matured yet. So you still have a good few months of watching Clarence grow and still, you know, be interested in exploring things, and certainly acclimating to being part of a family and just interacting with people that adopt him. So again, this is Clarence. He's your basic domestic short hair, black and white, looking for a forever home. So Chester is one of 2 cats this week that are special. He's the first one. We'll be taking a look at Hermie in a little bit, but Chester is, he's only about 21 months old. He came to the shelter back in 2013 as a 4-week-old kitten, went into foster care, got adopted, and was returned to the shelter for, the owner was describing litter box issues. However, when we did some diagnostics, we determined that Chester sort of has a predisposition to developing urinary crystals. So what that means for Chester is that he requires a special diet. He will most likely require that lifelong, and he will also need annual vet checkups unless something is noted that he needs more frequent vet checkups. But nonetheless, I think sometimes when folks come to the shelter, they'll see the cage posted. We do that for his benefit to make sure that whoever's feeding him has information on what food he needs. Right now he's on something called SO diet. But you know, he's a great cat. He's affectionate. He's one of the cats that will drink out of the bathroom faucet if you let him. And being on a special diet does not preclude him from being adoptable from our perspective, nor does it preclude him from being a lifelong companion for someone. So if you think of it this way, and this is the analogy I use during interviews, he requires a special diet, which is sort of the opposite. Is if you are allergic to something and cannot have a certain food, you just avoid it. Chester requires a certain food, so you just provide it. The SO diet is not any more expensive than a good quality, high quality cat food. It's just something, that information that we disclose to adopters. But you know, above all that, getting past the dietary requirement, he is affectionate. He was in foster care. He was around other cats. He's been exposed to many people at the shelter. He's a great greeter cat. He will come to the front of his cage and greet you when you walk by him in the shelter. So very social, has acclimated well, relatively young. So we are really hoping that his diet requirement does not put people off, does not discourage potential adopters, because we have him available and we are committed to finding him a home for forever. So that's what we are looking for from our potential adopters. But again, this is Chester looking for a forever home. So the last cat we're going to take a look at is Hermie. Hermie is similar to Chester, one of our special cats. Not really special needs, but just special. Hermie came to us on December 10th with a rubber band around his left hind leg. And unfortunately, that rubber band had been there very tightly and for quite a while. When he came to the shelter, he was painful, infected, and the only way to save his life was to amputate the left leg. He has done an amazing job at healing. The shelter went ahead and had the procedure performed. We placed him in foster care for follow-up. He came to us December 10th. So today is January 23rd, and he is just a stellar cat. He's one of our greeter cats on the adoption floor. As you walk on the adoption floor, he is in the first bottom cage, and we only put cats there that are, or we usually put cats there that are more likely to greet people, the ones that are most social. So that is certainly the case with Hermie. And unlike people, animals that have amputations or injuries or whatever, they don't feel sorry for themselves, and they really just ignore the situation. So it doesn't slow him down at all. He's about 9.5 pounds at this point. He's already neutered. He's only about 1 to 2 years old, so he's got many more years to go. Because of his injury, we want to make sure that he goes into a safe environment. So we have a few restrictions. First of all, he must be an indoor cat. Missing that back leg just puts him at a big disadvantage if he were to be outdoors. He cannot be declawed. Again, he's already been through enough. He had the circulation restricted to that one limb that had to be taken off. So that stands. And then he would do best in a home there where he won't be consistently chased or pursued. So we're not saying, you know, that he needs to go to a home without dogs. You just want to make sure that if you have a dog and you're interested in adopting this cat, recognizing that he is compromised in mobility. But he is beautiful. If you know how to run a brush, he likes to be brushed, certainly likes to be held, and certainly is very inquisitive. So this is Hermie, again, looking for a forever home. And that wraps it up for this week's Pet Pals. Thanks so much for joining us. We hope you'll give consideration to adopting one of these animals, or if you're not in the market, just forward that information that you'll find on social media to your friends. And especially, I'll put a plug in for Chester and Hermie. Those are two of the cats that really are in need of good homes. So thanks for joining us, and we'll see you next time on Pet Pals.